Meeting order. Welcome everyone, and if we will stand, pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jamie, if you do our invocation for us, please.
Let's pray. Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity to stand before you tonight, Lord, and we just thank for your continued hedge of protection that you kept around employees, Lord, and the citizens of this town and everybody involved in this storm, Lord. We just ask for your continued hedge of protection, Lord, that you'd keep us safe, keep our families safe, Lord. We just ask for your guidance for this board, Lord, and your past and present and their past and present decisions, Lord. We just ask all these things in your precious and holy name, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay. I guess the biggest announcement I've got is thankful to Jamie and our Public Works Department, our fire and police for the job that they've done in the last couple of days. This is probably the worst snowstorm we've had since the blizzard in 25 years ago. And one of the things that's worst as far as this particular snow is the deepness and the heaviness. It's there's a makeup and a difference between snows, and this one was probably the worst that you could have. It was a heavy, wet snow, and these guys have a lot of high country that they have to get to, and it was tough and dangerous. We've had one individual who was in a backhoe, and he hit the side of a curb and threw him against the windshield and gave him concussion. These guys risk their lives going out and doing what everybody in this town should be thankful for. We have a few that don't understand it, don't understand why we can't get to theirs or why we're pushing snow off in the mouth of their driveway. That's all we've got time to do. We can't go to everybody's driveway and clear that out, or we wouldn't keep the main roads open. So just want to say thank you for that, Jamie. And I'll need a motion for the proclamation and award recognition. We'd like to move that to the January. It'd be better suited for the folks to get that then before their families can be here. So I need a motion for that, to move that to the January meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, approved 5-0. Citizen comments. I don't have anybody that signed up for that. So communications from the boards, commissions, and agencies. Rainbow Recycling, Maryland.
It's holiday time, so you get to hear from me all over again. In fact, the 11th time for this particular event. We host our holiday recycling event where we collect styrofoam, all kinds of packaging, and Christmas light strands. This year it will be the last Saturday of December. That's the 29th from 10 to 1. It'll be at Hoppy's, the parking lot, and we're right in front. You'll see us for sure. Should we need to cancel that due to weather, it'll be the following Saturday, January 5th. So what do we take? We take white styrofoam. So no pink or blue insulation styrofoam, and no upholstery foam. Any other kind of packaging stuff, bubble wrap, air pillows, brown packing paper, foam sheeting. All that stuff we collected and we redistributed to artists, businesses, and others who can use it. So you can always contact me if you're in need of it. And then and there's all of this is available for reuse on a first come, first served basis. So show up that day, call me in advance, and we can help you out with the material. We often get quite a bit. Oh, and we also will take styrofoam peanuts. Just make sure things are clean and bagged separately. So air pillows in one bag, peanuts in another, etc. And if it's very large piece of styrofoam, you don't have to bag it because some of them are pretty big and you'd only get 1 or 2 in a bag. We work under all weather conditions. Last year it was extremely windy for 2 of the 3 hours. And unfortunately our video accidentally, something happened to it, and you would have seen exactly what conditions we work under. So we really appreciate if you bag the stuff securely, so no peanuts blow out, because we don't want to go chasing stuff all around that parking lot, and you know how light that stuff is. If you bring Christmas light strands, if they're larger than the minis, please remove the bulbs first and get rid of them on your own. We ask this year, we're going to have to transport this material, the styrofoam, all the way out to Randleman. So we used to be able to take it an hour away, then it was 3 hours away, and now it's closer to 4 or 5, I don't know exactly. So we always appreciate donations to help cover fuel costs. We're all volunteers, and we do this because we believe in reusing and reducing. So there will be flyers posted all about town, as I usually do on bulletin boards. They'll be at the library, at the chamber, maybe out here on the or you can always contact me or check on our website. So that's the event. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Marilyn. Okay, Josh, we'll give us Flat Creek Greenway update, please.
So I'll just be brief with this. If you recall, back in this spring and summer, we had a lot of rain and some flooding. About a 120-foot section of Flat Creek Greenway was pretty much destroyed. Picked up the asphalt, kind of set it over to the side. We've had some engineers to look at that. We're looking at about between $12,000 and $17,000 to fix that section. They would remove the asphalt that's been destroyed and moved, kind of regrade it, do some plantings, some grading in there. Obviously they can't do any paving probably until the spring now since it's so cold, but that's what we're looking at for a cost to fix that section of Greenway.
Okay, and when will they get started?
Well, we could go ahead now and do the base and get everything compacted. Probably could start here in the next few weeks, get a budget amendment maybe next agenda, and then do the paving in the spring when asphalt plants open back up.
Okay, thank you. Consent agenda.
So you have your adoption of adoption of minutes, November 19th, 2018 agenda session, November 19th, 2018 regular session, and November 19th, 2018 closed session. We've got a budget amendment for downtown streetscape grant reimbursement. This is the ARC funding we received a couple years ago to do the downtown streetscape, the benches and the planters, and we just need to move some money around to make that work out, even out so that's what that is. We have a budget amendment for Black Mountain Commerce Park Infrastructure Capital Project Fund. We'll be setting up a capital project fund or ordinance later in the meeting, but this is to do a budget amendment for that funding that we talked about in our last meeting for the bottom infrastructure project for grant funding, EDA funding, and Golden Leaf grant funding. We've got a resolution for our retiring K9 Briscoe. This is a resolution to transfer Briscoe to its current handler, or the gentleman, the officer has been handling Briscoe. And we've got a new K9 in now, so this will be for that transfer. We've got a call for public hearing for text amendments to noticing requirements. This is for our UDO, where currently we've got noticing requirements kind of all over the place for different types of actions that the planning board and the Board of Aldermen take, whether that be rezonings or variances or whatever that may be. So this text amendment is going to make those all pretty much the same, so it's easier for staff to keep that straight. You'll have a call for public hearing for text amendments to right-of-way closures. This is also to get those noticing requirements in place for right-of-way closures. Also, we'll be giving the fire department specific a request from them to actually comment on these right-of-way closures where we don't currently do that. And then G, that we added from our agenda session, this is a resolution for real property dedication for recreational use. If you remember, we were awarded the Part F grant earlier this year. A few years ago, we did purchase property that was the Campbell property down close to Veterans Park. This is for language to add to that deed as a restriction in order for us to make sure that we get credit from Part F for that property.
Okay.
And that'll be your consent agenda.
Do I have a motion to approve consent items A and through G as presented?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. Citizen comments for unfinished or new business only. Seeing none, new business. Adoption of the schedule for the Board of Aldermen agenda workshop and regular sessions for 2019. Wait a minute, we've got unfinished business first, I'm sorry. The wholesale purchase of water for the city of Asheville, any discussion?
In the agenda meeting, we discussed briefly, and I just want to mention here at the public meeting that we would, I'd like the board's support, and I don't think we need a motion because we're already working on the agreement, but for Ron to work on an agreement that reflects something, a format similar to the line, the agreement between the city of Asheville to take over the certain lines in Black Mountain, and that did that in steps. We did Blue Ridge Assembly Drive, and then we're doing half of the of those 600 or so customers, and then we're doing the other half as of May 31 of 19, 20, and 21, if I remember. But that's on the line transfer. This water purchase agreement, of course, separate issue. I mean, they need to be tied together, but they're separate agreements. And I was, and the thought is that Ron would draft an agreement that patterns that just a bit. We don't need to purchase water for the Blue Ridge Assembly lines, Blue Ridge Assembly Road lines that we're taking on, and as of on or before March 31, 2019. But we do need to purchase water for the Avadum expansion, and that should be, we probably should do that as of at least, that should be in place as of November or October. Maybe Ron needs some direction from Dean on that, on the Avadum expansion. And then we have the water that will be needed for the 600 customers in sequence. And that, of course, can't be done until the pump station's in place. But we don't need the water until the customers come on either. And since those are Asheville City customers, they should be amenable to that. And of course, to remind the public who might be here or watching later, this is all about a commitment fee that we have to make when we sign on the purchase agreement. So we want to be mindful of how much we're purchasing. But in addition, we have this is an amendment, so I guess it doesn't impact the 200,000 gallons that we're currently purchasing. Is that right, Ron? You're thinking?
Yeah, we're just updating your agreement for future purposes.
So we're already purchasing 200,000 a day and paying a commitment fee to that and using a good bit of that depending on the time of year. So this is to add on to that. So if it's agreeable to the board, Ron, come back to us at the January meeting with an agreement that we can hopefully pass and then send it over to the city of Asheville. And Dean can work with Ron on those numbers and the timing and so forth. So, thank you.
Okay. Anything else on this item? If not, new business. Adoption of the schedule for the Board of Aldermen agenda workshop and regular sessions. I'm assuming everybody's looked at that. And is there any discussion? Do I have a motion first to approve and adopt?
So moved.
Is there any discussion?
Do you have a date set for the workshop that we wanted to have in January?
I do not.
So, how do we get that on?
We may try to push it into February. I don't have a date set for it yet, though.
Okay.
Just I had not have time to pull that together.
And we can amend the schedule. It's not set in stone.
Right.
Obviously, we've done this. We've had to amend it and change it every year I've been on the board. So it's something we'll just have to take in stride when we come to it. So When we get that date, then we'll add that to it.
Okay.
All right? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Appointments of representatives and alternates to represent the town of Black Mountain on boards and committees of outside agencies. First is the Black Mountain Center for the Arts. Does anybody have a nomination to nominate as a member for the Black Mountain Center for the Arts?
I would like to nominate Josh Harrold.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the next is Black Mountain Chamber of Commerce Executive Board. We have a board vacancy for the alternate member. Do we have a nomination?
Nominate Alderman Raines.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. The French Broad River MPO, the otherwise known as TCC, do we have a nomination to appoint someone as the alternate member?
I nominate Josh Harrold. Just to remind the public, Josh served on that board when he was planning director, so
Any discussion?
happy to have him back.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. MSD, our Metropolitan Sewer District, we need a nomination to appoint someone as a member of the MSD board.
Nominate Bob Watts.
Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approves 5-0. The Asheville Regional Housing Consortium.
I'd like to nominate Carlos Showers. Thank you for being willing to do that, Alderman Showers.
We have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Parks and Recreation Facilities rental contract revision. Josh Henderson, if you come and give us your briefing on that, please.
You guys should have a copy, I think Angela included. What we've got, there's no current policy for groups renting facilities like Gray Eagle or Lakeview on a long-term basis, say more than 4 weeks. So we're wanting to add some language to our rental contract that basically will allow us to kind of hold them accountable for their rental space that they're taking up on our calendar. We've had a rental at Gray Eagle that was set up in 2012 and it's been on our calendar for 52 weeks out of a year, but only used 22 last year and without notice. So what we're asking the board to approve us to do is require these rentals to prepay for the dates that they wish to have, or supply us with a credit card number to hold on file and charge within a 48-hour period of their rental.
I personally think that's just good business policy. Do we have a motion to approve the revised facilities rental contract?
So moved.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approves 5-0. Josh, the Parks and Recreation fee schedule amendment.
We're asking the board to approve us to require those individuals renting a facility that are seeking a residency rate to provide proof of residence, either photo ID or power bill, something of that nature.
Do you have a motion to approve this amendment?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Establishment of a capital project fund for Black Mountain Commerce Park. Dean, if you will.
So this ordinance, we're required by statutes on capital projects, which typically are over, for us, it's like $100,000, and they typically are going to cross a couple different fiscal years to set up what's called a capital projects fund. Josh spoke about the budget amendment, which goes along with this fund, but the board just needs to approve the establishment of the capital projects fund. You see it here. It's right around $1.6 million. It's all grant funded. There's two large grants, $775 and $827,000. You guys approved the contract with Cooper Construction, I think at the last meeting. They're doing the capital portion. Then there's $110,000 of professional services that are split between Civil Design Concepts and Land of Sky. Erica, as Larry knows, has done quite a bit of work on this project.
Well, still manages it.
Manages
the grants.
Yeah, and she will be doing work on it for the next year or so.
Yeah, just for the public's purpose too, or information, on the Golden Leaf grant is not terribly time consuming for Erica, but the EDA grant is very time consuming. There's incredible amount of reporting, ongoing reporting that she does. Of course, Land of Sky is being paid for those services, but still, it's a very time-consuming grant.
Yeah, and what this project is going to do is complete water and sewer lines out to the Commerce Park, as well as putting a new pump station, which will allow the town to greatly increase the amount of water that we'll be able to purchase from Asheville for the next probably 20, 30 years. So that's what we're asking the board's approval on.
Okay. Got a motion to approve the ordinance O-18-10.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. All right, Swallow River stabilization at the Veterans Park, Headwaters Engineering contract. Josh?
So the contract you have before you is for Headwaters Engineering to do a study for us and do engineering on the stretch of the Swannanoa that runs through Veterans Park. We received Pigeon River funding for this project. We've received that funding in the past. It's a good place to go after money. We did our watershed restoration plan with that money a few years ago. The total of the project is $33,000. We'll be responsible for $5,000 of that for this study. After we have this in place, we can start going after other funding sources to help with that stream bank stabilization through there.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the contract with Headwaters Engineering?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Black Mountain Tennis Court update. Josh.
All right, so I don't have all the information I hope to have. I'm still waiting on a couple of numbers, but I'll give you what I've got. Just trying to dig through information over the past many years. But there was a master plan of some sort done in 2007 that depicted 6 courts down below in Cragmont Park, down below the dam there. So you know we've got the 2 courts up, or the double court up at the lake. That one's got some issues with water. So there's been some estimates provided to us that in order to raise that X amount of feet, it'll be $120,000 to do that project. I think there'll also need to be some drainage, some kind of drains put in to help that water to get out of there. Trying to get some numbers on what it costs to build brand new courts down at Cragmont Park. Still waiting on those on those numbers to come in. We have figured out that in order to resurface or mill the courts, it's about $30,000, give or take, for a double court to do that work. We spend around, the last time we bought the stuff we fill the cracks with, the crack fill material, we spent about $500 on it. I think a gallon of that will do a court. I'm not sure how often we're doing that. From what I understand, we're buying the material, and we've got someone from BMTA, Tennis Association, that's putting that in the cracks. So I think in the emails that I've looked and the language that's been, I guess, talked about over a number of years, the Black Mountain Tennis Association would request or ask that the Cragmont Park tennis courts, that they do 2 new courts down there instead of having 6 altogether. They just want 4, and they would like to see that done within the next 3 to 5 years. And then, excuse me, I got that backwards. They want to see the tennis courts raised at Lakeview within the next 3 to 5 years, and they want to see the other courts down at Cragmont 1 to 3 years after that time frame.
Is the number you gave for raising including the ones at the lake?
That is just for the ones
Just
at
for
Lake.
that?
That's correct. The ones down at Cragmont, I don't think they don't have issues with water. At least that's not what I've read and been told. So the issues with the water are the ones at the lake that need to be raised.
And that's just for 2 courts?
That's just for that one double court there. Yep. It's the court, but it's got 2 actual tennis courts on it.
Yeah. Well, so we could, if I understood the time frame that we're considering, we could just start working on this as the budget for fiscal year 2020, as we start working on the budget for fiscal year 2020. So.
Yeah, I don't know how much, how privy any of you have been to this information. So this may be the first time a lot of you are hearing it.
Or bits and pieces of it. Of course, I guess we still got some information to get as far as how construction would be and stuff.
I was curious to see what a new court would cost to construct down
Me
there.
too. Also at the Cragmont Park, is there a water fountain or anything down there? Spigot.
Just basketball courts and a small baseball that they field that they use to practice on.
One of the things about the tennis courts is that for many years, sort of like the swimming pool, we got kind of in a position of where we start patching instead of fixing or renovating. And that patching, over time, those patches wear out. And I think that's kind of like what happened with the swimming pool. That's what happened with the 19th hole and other town facilities. Now, we're kind of in a choice here. We can continue patching, or we can kind of take the bull by the horns and say, okay, this is town property. This is our investment. Let's fix it right. It's not the tennis association's property. It's the town's property. They utilize it like other citizens in town do. So for us, to me, is that we need to take care of our investment, because it is an investment. All of our town property is an investment. And to do the proper upkeep on it to where it's going to be something that's not going to have to be constantly repaired and repaired and repaired, then it just makes common sense to me to do it. It's not something that's going to be done within the next year. I think they would like for it to be, but I think they have the understanding that, it's going to take time, and they're going to work on, they have money that they can contribute towards the cost of it. They're going to continue to do fundraisers and what have you to try to get more money to help out. They're going to get USTA to help out. So anything that we can do to help improve on our own situation, it's only for the better. So, like I say, it's town property, just like everything else. Carver, Lakeview, wherever. It's our responsibility to take care of it.
Okay. I know when we start working on our budget this spring, that's something maybe we can look at as far as doing a capital project fund, just like we've done for the fire truck. We spent over $500,000 on a truck that we've been saving for 4 or 5 years. A little over, it was actually 6 years. So budget time be the time to talk about it and see if we can get stars lined up.
Josh, when you talk with the tennis association, could you get, when we talk about budget, could you just get like what the USTA or whatever the governing body may be, what the lifetime spans are for like a new court or like a resurface court, just so that we know kind of roughly what we're working with that.
Yeah.
Sure. And keep in mind, the biggest problem with those courts is that they're located at a place where the water table is so high. And what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to come in and raise up those courts. I forget how many feet that Judy told me, but they're going to have to raise them up to try to get them above that water table to where they can be played on efficiently and kept over time. So it's not going to be a little job. It's going to take some time to do it. It's going to take some engineering.
That's the 120 you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, water tables everywhere is up, for sure.
Well, I think, you guys are making the right decision, just doing it during budget time, and just,
Yeah.
you just weigh it against the other needs and priorities, and you do what you can.
They're certainly being, if I understood their request in those time frames, they're certainly being, I think, reasonable in allowing us some flexibility. So that's great. So we just, Dean will work it up as we start budget work.
Yep. Okay, public hearings, we have none, but now is probably a good time if I could ask Jamie to come in and give us an update as to where we're at with the snow removal and what the last couple of days have been.
So to give you guys an update just from start to finish, we come in early last week and pre-treated the high country, which is protocol for us to try to keep it from freezing to the asphalt surface. I just want to compliment what Mayor Collins said, because he took the words out of my mouth, the different types of snow we have. And I'll use a kid's analogy. If you use a kid and you made a snowball and a soft, light snow, you go to pack it, it won't pack. So if you get 10 inches of that and you got cables on a truck, you can about push and go anywhere you want to go because it's not packed down. Now you take a wet, heavy snow like what we got now, and you drive on it, it's going to pack into solid ice. And I think a lot of misunderstanding that people have about that is these plows on these trucks are made to cut by design. So when you drop that plow, you're just dropping the weight of the plow on the road. There's nothing that forces it into the ground. It has to be able to cut, and once it takes a cut, it is designed to cut deeper and just keep cutting deeper till it stops and then push. But because of the weight of that wet, heavy snow, we can't push uphill. So when we try to push uphill, you just got all the force against the truck, and the truck just sits down and spins, and then you spin cables off, and then you're going nowhere. So I'm getting a lot of calls saying, well, you've pushed this road in the past, what's the difference now? Well, here's the difference. In the salt trucks, we've took and turned around backwards in the soft light snows and throwed material out and backed up through there. Soft light snow, weight of the truck, pushes the cables to the ground, you're on pavement all the way up. Wet pack snow, we're no different than any car that you put on the road. We can't go backwards because you got a truck with all the weight shifted forward downhill that you're trying to go backwards, so it just sets down and spins. We get some citizens, just like I say, well, you've been up here before. Well, we can't get up there now. So I know I had a lot of calls about Montreat Road, and I'd like to say I tried to personally push Montreat Road several times yesterday myself. And one of the reasons the news and everybody involved always tells you to stay at home, I know everybody wants to get out. If I was at home, I'd love to get out too, but for one, it's for the safety of you and for the safety of us. But mostly when you drive on these roads, it packs it down to an ice rink. So going back to what I said, when you drop the plow won't cut. So it just rides on the top surface of the road. So we have to wait till the thawing process to take place before we can lift the material off the road and get it out of the highway. So before I left last night on Montreat Road, it had thawed enough. I was probably able to clear 70 to 80%. We finished the rest today. To complement that, DOT's trucks would not even push 70 yesterday because they were packed so tight. They had to bring out the biggest motor grader that they have available, which they can push their plows into the ground just to clear 70 yesterday because the dump trucks wouldn't clear it. So to give you more of an update, we've probably got, since the snow stopped this morning completely, we've probably got 90 to 93% of this town cleared anywhere you want to go. We lost Hunting Lodge, and the people up at top of Hunting Lodge don't know this because they can't get out. because vehicles got stuck in the middle of the road and we couldn't get by them. And that happened in multiple places. The only other two places that I know of is the very top of Pinnacle, which is the highest part of Black Mountain Estates that, people don't understand why we can't get up there. Going back to what I very first said, unless we use the bulldozer, we just can't get there until the thawing effect takes place. And hence what you was asking me about Timber Park, same situation. It is so steep that we can't even throw material out behind the truck, and the snow's so deep. So tomorrow by 10 o'clock, it's supposed to really start thawing, and tomorrow's supposed to be the big thawing day. But just so these citizens know, I want them to know that we have tried in all these areas to get there multiple times today. And I've had to pull one truck out that went off in the ditch, and I really, as far as my job, my main concern is the safety of them guys, and I don't want to get anybody hurt, and I don't want to tear up any taxpayers' equipment, because this stuff is very, very expensive. And but I can assure you that these guys have went above and beyond for what we've had, because the amount of snow we had in the short time frame we had, I'm even more impressed by it. Because of what resources we do have and how big these sections are that these guys have to push, they can't stop and eat. They can't do nothing. They've got to go until this event's over. So, I want to praise them while I'm up here, because I believe that they need that, and I want to tell you that I personally know they've done an excellent job. And but I want the citizens to know that we're out in force doing everything we can do, and as soon as we can get them out, we will get them out. We will not stop until we get them roads cleared. But as to my knowledge today, that's the only three places that we cannot get to. And like I say, one of them was because a car had blocked it and we couldn't get around it. Sunset, the top of Sunset, there was a car blocking it. We couldn't get around it all day yesterday, or part of the night last night. I think Sean's crew cleared them out. I don't know when or what time, but we were able to go up there today and was able to finish it. So if you get them calls, and I know you do because I do, it's just a lack of understanding how this stuff works and how this equipment works. And I don't know how else to say it, but these same trucks that we drive are the same rubber-tired vehicles that you drive. That set of cables is just an extra safety issue, but when you throw a plow in front of it and you start pushing snow and putting weight against it, gravity takes over, and you're even fighting even that much more resistance. So to get what they done, I'll say it again, I think they've done a fine job, and we'll continue to get that high country tomorrow until we get them cleared out.
Right. But it is understandable the folks ask, because
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
They wouldn't know.
And the thing that you got to think about too, I know some of these people, they have medical conditions and they have appointments, and they need to get out, and we're going to do our best to get them out of there. But the type of snow, the wet, heavy snow, it's the worst. And I'll be here 11 years in February, and that's the worst one I've ever had to work through since I've been here, as far as the type of snow that it was. So.
Jamie, when you say you lost a particular road, can you expand on what you mean by lost? I mean, I know the car was there, but
Yes.
I want you to tell us exactly what that means.
Okay, so when the guys are pushing the road during the snow event and they're able to clear it, let's just say you get 4 inches of snow on that road and they clear it off. Well, they've bought themselves time, because now it has to snow 4 more inches back before they can't get in there. But when you block that road, they cannot access the rest of that road, and you still got the same amount of snow coming down the same amount of time. Once that snow gets so deep and that car is removed, these plows are designed, they've got springs on the back of them. And what they're made for is when you hit a manhole or hit a solid object, that thing will flip over to keep you from be like hitting a rock wall and throwing you through the windshield. So it'll flip over, go over it, and keep going. When that snow gets so heavy, the springs on the back of these plows, they're overloaded, meaning that when you push so much snow, the plow board flips, picks the front of the truck up, and you have no steering, and you can't push it. It will not go nowhere. So, and people say, well, why don't you turn your plow, push a little bit, back up, get another run, push a little bit. Well, here's the problem with that. The weight of it and gravity taking over, if you back up and get a run and your plow's turned, when you hit it, guess where you're going? The way that plow's turned. It's going to shoot you off in the ditch, and it happens just like that, and it happened today. We had to pull a truck out for that same reason, and I know Josh come out and rode with me about 6 hours the first day just to see what we do and how the operation goes, and I know it made a big impact with my guys and me, and I appreciate you being so proactive, and I'm glad you got to see, because me personally, pushing snow, I hadn't been knocked stuck in 3 years, and the guys was aggravating me about it because me and Josh got stuck, and I'm like, we got stuck. I had to take a backhoe and pick the back of the truck up and set it out on the road. So it's nice that he got to see that and see what kind of challenges that we face, because he can give you guys that information as we go along. But like I say, I want the citizens to know we work for them, and we're doing everything we can to help them. And this has been a very big snow, and it's been a very tough snow. The only things we've had happen is we had a bead on one of the tires on the dump trucks. It lost its bead, and it went flat. There wasn't nothing open. We had to get it fixed today. So we were one vehicle down. And what Don was talking about the boy getting the concussion, theirs was another incident. I had an employee that was stuck in Cheshire, trying to get up in Cheshire to get it pushed, and got stuck. So Doug was on his way to take the backhoe to get him out. And when he went to turn in there, the backhoe went to slide, and there was a snow pile there. So how you get it to stop is just like being on a tractor. You drop the blade, it stops you. When he dropped the blade, there was a concrete curb under that snow pile he didn't see, and it's like he hit a car head on. So it throwed him up into the window. He is fine. He went to the doctor. He's got a mild concussion. He come into work today. He turned his timesheet in. They told him to stay out 48 hours. He'll be back Thursday. That is the first recorded incident injury during a snow event that I've had in 11 years here that are on my watch. And it was just one of them uneventful accidents. But it is a very dangerous job, and it's really more dangerous than what I think people thinks it is until you're in that truck coming out of them mountains, and you really don't have no control of it. You get a better sense of what them guys really do. So,
All right, thank you, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Communications from staff. Ron?
I have one item Josh brought to my attention that he's catching up on things, something that the board hasn't heard about recently, and that's the dealing with the Hemphill property, the Sims property. Mary Hemphill left to the Appalachian Conservancy to be used as a park. Where are we on that? Sort of slowed down. Everybody got really busy, and that sort of sat on the back burner. But the process is we had, and I may have mentioned this before, because Mary didn't have nearly the money she thought she did. If that property, we just said we don't want to do it as a park, that property would be sold, and the residuary beneficiaries would receive something. If the town takes it, they get nothing. And so we sort of got those folks on board and going to them and saying, we need you to acknowledge that it's okay, you like the idea the town's going to open this as a park because of the way we've got to deal with titling. The will left it to the Conservancy. The Conservancy does not want to hold title while we operate a park. They want to deed it to the town. Now, there'll be a reverter in there that if we stop using the park, it'll go back to the Conservancy and start all over. But that's one piece of the puzzle. The second is Bryant Webster, who's the executive for Mary, is negotiating with Mike Begley, trying to get us an access, do a little horse trading, get access off of Sunset and not necessarily have to go across through the box culvert and over the railroad tracks to get into that property. So that's going on. And the third is we are just, I got to get with Josh Henderson. We've got to start developing a plan. The Conservancy wants to see we're moving forward on that.
Josh?
I'll just say there's a public meeting for the Asheville Design Center for Community Garden Saturday, the 15th, which is this Saturday from 12 to 2 at the Black Mountain Public Library. That's to take input on the community garden through that I think that master planning process that they've been doing.
All righty. In the Board of Aldermen, have anything?
How about the parade is Saturday?
That's good that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Saturday at 2 o'clock.
I don't have anything, but Jamie, thank you to your work, and everybody else too. I mean, I think our policemen and firemen also, if it's, weather's bad, it's, you folks don't have the option of not being out there, so we appreciate all of you, and to everyone. A few hardy souls are here at the meeting this evening, but to everybody else, have a great Christmas and happy holiday.
And was it this week that we're supposed to meet at Lake Tomahawk about the I-26? I mean, not
It's Thursday the 13th.
Thursday, 13th, yep.
That begins at
For the public, 4
o'clock.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that, but yes, that's, if anybody's got any concerns and want to see what's going on and the different plans that they've got, I think they've got 3 different sets. Go, look, and put your input. And I just want to, again, talk about Jamie and their crew and what they've been up against. I've got 2 68 horsepower tractors. And I've had snow plows on the front, snow plows on the back. I've had a front end loader on one of the tractors, and this has been the most difficult snow that I've ever encountered. Now, I didn't get out in the blizzard 25 years ago because I had bronchitis and cough-related syncope, so I was stuck. And Gary Bartlett was talking about coming and getting my tractors if he needed them to use if he could find a driver. Well, ended up he didn't have to come. But this snow was the worst that I've ever pushed, that I've ever been in, and I got stuck twice in my 4-wheel drive truck. So, guys, it's been a tough one, and I want to thank all our town staff because it's, like it's already been said, y'all have to be here. Y'all work for the public, and your tax dollars means you come in. You just can't stay home, and we appreciate the Public Works, the Fire Department, and Police Department immensely. And with that, everybody have a Merry Christmas, and meeting adjourned.